Hello friends, we will make this imaginary watercolors in this video. We will make a simplified drawing, and there is no reference for this image. I'm doing it from maybe memory or little bit of imagination, etc. And we are paying attention to some of the major shapes, not into the details. The details we will decide as we move on, right? That is a good way of practicing. You just draw certain ideas, and then the details will come as you paint along. You will get more and more clarity, more and more ideas as you move along. Now we are suggesting some of the shapes for the background, some trees behind, and a couple of trees, and the structure, and we might add a couple of people also. So that is the general idea. So the material that I am using is Indian handmade paper. This is a cold press paper, 440 GSM. So you could use a lesser GSM paper as well. And the colors that I am using is Camel artist quality watercolors, which is an Indian brand. So any brand of colors can be equally good. A quick sky with a mix of cerulean blue and a touch of violet, and I'm making some strokes and then suggesting some lighter area, maybe for some subtle clouds. I'm using a synthetic mauve brush. You can use a mauve brush for the sky because usually it's a larger area, and wet on wet merging will be very useful. Right. Some of the background stuffs using a duller blue. I have mixed blue and little bit of burnt umber into this. For the roof, I think I'm using a little bit of burnt sienna and crimson red, and I will be suggesting some color variations within the roof, within the tiles. Okay, a little bit of violet and maybe some touch of orange going forward. The idea is to get some variations in the color rather than a flat single color. The land, I am suggesting using a bit of yellow ochre and maybe touch of orange and some amount of olive green going forward. Again, the idea is to get some color variations, merging of colors on the paper, and a little bit of darker tones as I come towards the bottom area. I am adding touch of burnt sienna. So the colors used are yellow ochre and touch of orange and some burnt sienna and olive green. Right. Wetting this area with the very light tones and then while it is still wet, I am adding slightly darker tones for the background foliages, and I'll be using even darker tones to get the sense of volume. Okay. Some of the edges are suggested by small touches to create interest. Darker tones of olive green, and I might use even blues and greens to make it make some color variations and shape variations. The nearby tree is made with slightly darker tone so that they will appear to be a bit more closer to us. While the background is still wet, I am adding some darker tones to create some color variation. If you are finding this video useful, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and please also click on the bell notification so that you get all my future tutorials on time. Some sharper, tiny touches at the edges particularly will make it more interesting. So feel free to make certain hints, certain accents to make it interesting, but don't overdo this. And if you have a little bit of white spaces in between, you can add some branches. You can suggest some branches. Some base layer for the wall, and I'm making it a little warmer and a little lighter, and giving some color variations. The color that I'm using is yellow ochre and a little bit of orange. And on the side wall also I am giving the same tone, and later I will make the side wall as darker. Let's make some darker tones of brown, maybe by mixing crimson lake and Prussian blue and little bit of burnt sienna. You could make burnt sienna plus ultramarine blue, any kind of dark tones. Basically a variation of brown, dark brown will be good. And these are some accents, some kind of shapes which will create interest and contrast. The side plane is on the shadow side wall, so we have to make it even darker. So if you have any suggestions or questions, please leave a comment. I will surely try to get back and answer your questions and consider your suggestions. Your suggestion in terms of future videos and any other topics that we want to discuss, or if you have any questions on the reasoning behind certain approach, please leave a comment. That will help me in understanding what is really helpful to you, and I can modify my future videos. So your comments will be really helpful. Now I am making some suggestions for the tiles. So it is a slightly darker variation of brown, and I am just suggesting with a liner brush. So I am not making a uniform horizontal line. I am just moving my brush in such a way that it is making some random sort of marks, and we should respect the perspective of the tile lines. So the perspective of the line that we are creating is important, but within the line I am just making some random touches. Some of the major branches seen through so that the foliages are connected to the ground. Here again you can just suggest, it doesn't have to be very precise. Okay, these are mainly to create some interest. Some sort of shadows can hook the building firmly to the ground, and also it can give some play of light. This looks too much sharp shadows, and I don't want this much of contrast, so maybe I will soften the edges for the shadows, okay, so that to make it little subtle. Currently the shadow looks a little bit too sharp, so softening the edges. It's up to you whether you want to soften or you want to keep it sharp. If it is sharp shadows, then the play of light will be even it will be more brighter. The play of light will be even more enhanced. You can see a good play of light on the side wall where there is a contrast between the wall and the shadow. Some elements on the side plane, like maybe a door and maybe something else, and the side wall is still not dry, so it will spread, but that area I'm accepting certain amount of spread I'm accepting, because that is not an attention grabbing area. And some touches in the foreground, and I'm planning to make some figures, okay, and near the tree. That is again to create some interest. Okay, here I'm using a bit of opaque watercolors. I mean some cerulean blue with a touch of white mixed with that, and some darker figures. So basically these figures can really help in connecting with the viewers. The viewers will get better connected if you're adding figures. Okay. Some final touches here and there to close it. So you'll have to understand, you'll have to decide when to stop. So if you start doing these kind of actions, it might you might end up in overdoing it. So you should be careful whenever you do this, because it is very tempting to make another couple of touches, and beyond a point it might even spoil your work. So you keep evaluating the state and then decide when to stop, which is very important. Some tiny touches of white watercolors which can help in popping up those figures. Right. I think we are pretty much done now. We could do a lot of things, but I am deciding to stop now. A lot of additional interest could be added, but I am deciding to stop now. I think I'm stopping now. So a lot of things could be added, but I am deciding to stop. Okay. Hope this video was informative and useful, and if you have any suggestions for improving the video, please leave a comment. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.